We play out as the people that we believe ourselves to be, and half the time we can't really know if those patterns and ways of being are actually ours. Our patterns and the dynamics that we play out in our families, whether they're the families we're born into or the families that we end up creating, we see ourselves generally just as one person being a part of these families and trying to navigate how to communicate within them. With the family and ancestral patterns, they play out in our subconscious, they play out behind closed doors. We don't see them. It's very hard for us to see our shadow. It takes other people to notice it, and the ones who notice it the most are the ones who get closest, right? And the same with us and other people. When we get close to them, friends or family, especially, in intimate relationships, we then see that other person's shadow right there because we're standing within it. Your friends maybe see, most of the shiny face of you, but they maybe see little bits of you when you get angry, when you have road rage, when you're hangry, when you haven't eaten for a few hours, you're starving. The people who get intimate with you are much more likely to see your fears, your worries, your perceived inadequacies. And that's just the natural way that it is. What I'm trying to get at is that your family conditioning and you as a person, you're not just one person. You're made up of, the genetics that you were born into, the place that you were born into. You're made up, obviously, of your family conditioning. Your soul voice is there speaking to you all the time. It's just usually the quietest voice, so we miss it. The loudest voices in our heads are usually the ones of negativity, the ones that stop us. Now, when we step into intimate relationship, what can happen is those patterns can play out. So instead of becoming the conscious, amazing, creative person that you're supposed to be, and with your conscious, amazing, creative partner, you become unconscious and they become unconscious, and you play out your shadow. And it doesn't matter how conscious you are in other areas or how conscious you are even about relationship or about yourself. If the other person is not consciously even trying to navigate that world and they're not interested in it and they're unconscious, your conversation will become unconscious. Eckhart Tolle says this: if you're talking to someone in their pain body, the chances are you're in your pain body too. It takes a lot of skill, learned skill, to step back and not be pulled into a dynamic that is super unconscious and has a lot of energy built into it. You have to look at where you're putting your energy in, the people that you're putting your energy into. However, in relationship that is complete with two conscious partners, then there is the opportunity for you to help heal each other's crap. But it's hard work, and you have to be willing to work on yourself, and you have to be willing to call the other person out, and you have to be willing to be called out as well. You have to be willing to be seen and be vulnerable, and that is really hard. We are still holding on to the reins that were someone else's, or driving the car that was someone else's. Like, they got out, they stepped out, they disappeared off the planet, and we got in the seat and we held on, as if we still need to take on that journey. No, we don't. We don't have to take that on anymore. We don't have to keep being an angry person. We don't have to do that anymore. It feels bad. We don't have to keep being a sad person. We don't have to keep being a person who can't get through the world financially, or we don't have to be a person who disappears and leaves our children. We don't have to be a person who can't relate to our children. I don't think we ever become totally clean. I just think we go, oh, wait a minute, I'm doing that thing again. Oh, wait a minute, there's that pattern again. We become quicker at noticing and catching the pattern, so we don't keep playing it out over and over and over. It's time to strip back the layers of all the conditioning and get to the crux of who you really are, the you came here to be.